Have you ever found yourself in a debate where the argument seemed to make sense at first, but upon reflection, you realized it was fundamentally flawed? If so, you've likely encountered a logical fallacy. A logical fallacy is an error in reasoning that renders an argument invalid or irrelevant. These faulty lines of reasoning may seem convincing on the surface, but they crumble when put under scrutiny. They can occur unintentionally due to poor reasoning skills, or they can be used deliberately to manipulate or mislead. Imagine a student group advocating for the removal of English 101 from the curriculum, describing it as a useless course. They argue that no one wants to spend money on a worthless class. However, they fail to provide any reasons or evidence to explain why they believe English 101 is useless. This is a classic example of a logical fallacy, specifically the fallacy of begging the question, where a conclusion is assumed in one of the premises. Understanding logical fallacies is not just about winning debates. It's about developing critical thinking skills, making informed decisions, and navigating the world of information and misinformation that surrounds us. So, what exactly constitutes a logical fallacy? A logical fallacy occurs when an argument introduces invalid or irrelevant points without any supporting evidence. Most logical fallacies involve arguments, which consist of one or more premises and a conclusion. The premises should support the claim being made in the conclusion. There are two types of errors that can occur in arguments. First, there can be a factual error in the premises. This is a mistake of fact, not logic. For instance, if you count 13 people in a room when there are actually 14, you've made a factual error. The second type of mistake is when the premises fail to logically support the conclusion. This is where a logical fallacy typically comes into play. Broadly speaking, logical fallacies are classified into two categories: informal and formal. Informal logical fallacies occur when there's an error in the content of an argument. For instance, the argument may be based on irrelevant or false premises. These can be further divided into relevance fallacies, which introduce irrelevant points, and ambiguity fallacies, which use ambiguous words or phrases that change meaning during the discussion. An example of an informal logical fallacy is equivocation. This occurs when a word or phrase changes its meaning in the course of an argument without this change being made explicit. For instance, consider the argument that all acts are selfish because even when serving others, people are merely satisfying their own desire to help. Here, the meaning of selfish subtly shifts throughout the argument, leading to a fallacious conclusion. So in conclusion, logical fallacies are faulty lines of reasoning that can lead to invalid arguments and unsupported conclusions. They can occur due to factual errors or failures in logic. By understanding and recognizing these fallacies, you can sharpen your critical thinking skills, make better arguments, and be less susceptible to manipulation. Remember, not every convincing argument is a valid one, and not every valid argument is necessarily true. Keep your wits about you and don't fall for the fallacy. Before we wrap up this video, we'd like to take a moment to thank you all for watching. We hope that you now have a deeper understanding of logical fallacies and how to spot them in everyday arguments. Our aim is to help you become a better critical thinker and communicator. This video was brought to you by Arbaz Ahmad, who is committed to providing you with informative and engaging content. Remember, the key to understanding is constant learning. Thank you again for your time and attention. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.